What up, crafters? It's Rosemary here. I am here in my new apartment, which I will hopefully make a video about at another time very soon. But today, I wanted to talk about a very important event coming up. This weekend, my sister is getting married, and we're all so excited. Probably not nearly as excited as she and her fiance are, but we're just over the moon happy about this. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't come without its difficulties as someone with CRPS, and this could maybe apply to any sort of disability that you may have as well. So today, I thought I would talk about how my particular disorder affects this wonderful family celebration of love and of life. So without further ado, here are 5 of the biggest ways that CRPS has affected this celebration. Number 1 would be I've had to have some awkward and uncomfortable conversations regarding maid of honor stuff. When I was younger, I didn't really know how I felt about maids of honor or best man at the wedding, because I thought it could easily be a place to start some tension or some awkward moments between family or close friends. For instance, if you have 2 female siblings and you don't know which one to be the maid of honor, or you have a sister and your closest friend and you don't know who to pick or whose feelings that you might hurt. That just always seemed a little problematic to me. But that being said, I also, growing up, always pictured in my head that I would get to be the maid of honor at my sister's wedding, and vice versa, because I only have one sister. I'm the oldest of 3. After me, 2.5 years later was my sister, and about 4.5 years later after that was my brother. So it didn't seem like that would be something we needed to talk about, but when my injury and subsequent disorder occurred, that kind of made the conversation necessary, because nowadays being a maid of honor is a big job. It requires a lot of the planning. You talk to all the bridesmaids and you create, chat rooms, and you talk about the bachelorette party, the bridal shower, whatever you might be doing. It's a lot of work, and that's just not something that I would be able to do physically at all. As much as I want to be part of that process, it would just be asking way too much of my body, and I think it would just really end badly. So I've had to have some conversations with my sister about how exactly we're going to navigate this. Her closest friend offered to say, okay, you can be the maid of honor, Rosemary, and I'll just do all the planning and basically be the maid of honor, but you get to take the title. And that just didn't seem fair for her to do all this work and go through all these amazing things and do all this stuff for my sister and not have the title that comes with it. That just made me feel really bad. So we didn't really know what to do. And I'd be lying if I said that those conversations weren't some of the hardest conversations that I have had in a long time, possibly even my life, excluding serious emergencies, of course. To have something that you've been dreaming of your whole life kind of slowly be taken away, not by anybody at all on purpose, but just by the very nature of how my body works, is really heartbreaking. And will I enjoy my sister's wedding less because I didn't get to be the maid of honor? No, of course not. Will I regret that I didn't get to be a part of those parties and plans and excitement? Absolutely. Absolutely. So that is a little hard to deal with, but like I said, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to appreciate this wonderful occasion any less. Number 2 kind of ties in because it was not being involved in the wedding planning at all. Aside from the occasional chat from a bridesmaid asking a question that I might be able to help with, there wasn't much I could really do. I can't run around and get flowers and a cake and candles and tablecloths and everything that we need for every single little party that comes before the wedding and then for the wedding itself. That would have been so much fun for pre-2012 Rosemary. You have no idea. So to watch that all go by and not really have been a part of it at all, really tricky for sure. To not have the energy to do those sorts of fun things, to not be able to contribute to the planning and help out with that process and kind of take some of the work off someone else's back to relieve some of the stress for my sister and for anybody else in the party who might be a little on edge. I would have been happy to do all that, but Rosemary's body certainly isn't. And that's just the nature of the beast. So that was number 2 for me. Number 3 is kind of a weird one. It's not super important, but it was something that crossed my mind, and it is something that my disorder affects, is the thought of being the last of my siblings to get married. And as the oldest, that just feels a little weird. I always had an inkling that maybe that would be the case anyway, so like I said, this isn't a huge issue, but if I wasn't going to be the last to get married of my siblings, then I certainly am now, because I have so much more to consider before agreeing to marry somebody than you normally would. Normally, when someone asks you to marry them, the only real thing you need to think about is, do I love this person? Could I see myself spending the rest of my life with them? And that's pretty much it. I have to think about things like, what kind of health insurance do you have? Because if I marry you, I'm on your health insurance now, not the insurance I have currently. And if it's better, great. If it's not as good as what I have now, that's a big deal. That's a reason to consider not getting married at all, if need be, because that's just the way the system has set it up. And if I get worse health care for marrying somebody, then I would just as soon stay with them forever and not get married and keep my better health insurance. This is another reason we need universal health care, by the way, but that's a totally separate issue for another day. But it's just little things like that you have to think about and consider when you choose a life partner and decide to get married legally, that is otherwise a non-issue for most couples. And will that hurt my future partner's feelings that I can't marry them if their health insurance isn't as good? Possibly. That's hard, that I might have to say no to a partner for reasons other than being in love with them and wanting to spend my life with them. I'm sure that's going to be really tricky. This is already hard enough with relationships for people to deal with all of this. That's going to be the icing on this crappy cake. So it's going to suck for me, it's going to suck for my partner. It's just a big mess. And having to think about those things instead of just how I feel about the person and what I want for my life, this just feels dumb. Feels so dumb. Feels like I kind of got screwed over, and I'm sure that's how most people with some sort of disability, certainly a terrible pain disorder, feel a lot of the time. I know I do. I can't speak for everybody. So those passing thoughts, as my sister is getting married, about what my possible wedding plans will be, if I get any at all, is uncomfortable. It doesn't feel right. It feels like I'm kind of in some sort of matrix where I was like, this is not how this was supposed to go. This was supposed to, I'm not saying I needed to find a Prince Charming and live happily ever after. That wasn't my plan in my head, but neither was this, and I know that that's how life works, so I'm gonna deal, and any partner I pick in the future is also gonna have to deal, and that's just the way it is. So I try not to think about it too much, because it's like rocking in a rocking chair. It's something to do, but it's not gonna get you anywhere. Number 4 would be having to pick and choose the things I decide to attend or be a part of, because I'm trying to gauge how my body feels, and I don't want to overdo it or end up in the hospital or anything like that, but I want to be present for as much of this amazing moment as I can be. So to have conversations with my mom, like, would you rather be at the wedding or the reception if you have to pick? Or thinking about pictures and my lack of ability to stand in place for long periods of time while someone snaps shots is going to have to be something we work around, because I'm not going to be able to be a part of that, and that would have been really fun. Really annoying, I'm sure, to have to do all the pictures and things, but still really fun to be a part of. So missing on that has definitely led to some tearful days, for sure. And it'll be the same for my brother. It's been the same for my cousins, my friends. I just try and pick what I think would be the most important moments to them for me to be there for, and prioritize those first, and then work my way down to maybe the lesser important things, like, doing the electric slide. With that being said, I'm gonna really miss doing the electric slide. And I know that things like that aren't going to be a possibility. If I'm lucky enough to be able to stay for the reception, I'm going to be one of the boring people sitting at my table all night drinking coffee while everyone is dancing and having fun and enjoying the night. And that doesn't mean that I wouldn't want to be there to watch it all, but I'd much rather be a part of it, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. And I'm actively missing out on parts of it. And I have to just watch as they float by. I don't think that will ever get easier. It might, maybe, over time, who knows. But so far, all the special occasions I've been to so far, and had to miss bits and pieces of, it's just as hard each time. Because those people and those moments are just as important to me each time. And last but not least, number 5 is something that doesn't even really occur to you until it's right up in your face, is I need to find, for lack of a better word, a caregiver to come with me to the wedding if I want my family and loved ones to be able to fully enjoy the wedding and not have to worry about me and what's going on. So it's not just as simple as finding a date, which if I was perfectly healthy, I could find a date or not find a date and it wouldn't really much matter. Now, not only is it pretty important that I find a +1, that +1 has to be someone who is comfortable taking me to the hotel room if I need to rest, taking me home if I need to go home and be done for the day, taking me to the ER and back if I need to. So my parents don't have to worry about that like they usually do. My sister won't have to worry about me. Everyone can just enjoy themselves and make the most of the day, and whatever I need, I can have someone there for me. So it's not that there's anything wrong with that. It's not like that bothers me at all. It's just something you wouldn't think of as a 30-year-old person, that when my sister gets married, I'm going to need a caregiver, much like my 99-year-old grandfather is coming and needs a caregiver in case he needs to leave or needs help with something and people are busy. It's just one of those moments that just doesn't really sit right. Like, I need a caregiver at this wedding if I want to be able to stay for as long as possible and enjoy it for as long as possible. Without that help, the likelihood that I'd be able to stay for more time is pretty much zilch. So it's a necessary thing, but it's just kind of strange as well. I don't know. So that's really it. I'm sure there's other things I could think of, and if there's any other things that you've had to struggle with as you celebrate important moments in your loved ones' lives with your disability, please let me know in the comments, because having these discussions I think is super important so people understand how these wonderful moments can also have a little bit of sadness inside. I'm trying my absolute best to kind of put that aside and really just be as present as I possibly can, as close as I would be to if I didn't have a disability at all, and enjoy it as much as I would if I didn't have a disability. Because if I sit in this and wallow and say, oh my gosh, it sucks I can't do this, it sucks I can't go here, it sucks I can't see this, it does. It absolutely does. And there's times and places where you can sit and do what you need to do to process that, have a good cry, talk to a loved one about it. But in the moment, while it's happening actively in my life, it's happening, it's gonna go away, it's not coming back, I need to just let all that go and just bask in the excitement and truly wonderful connection that is love. There's really nothing more powerful. There's really nothing more worth living for than love. That's the feeling I'm going to be holding in my heart this entire weekend. So it doesn't feel sad to miss things. I feel happy to be there for the places and times that I can, because that's a gift and I'm truly blessed. Thank you all so much for checking out this video. I appreciate all your comments and all your feedback. And as always, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.